Hello, friends. My name is JT Tapias with the Empty Your Bucket Nutrition Plan channel, and I am a professional fitness life coach. I enjoy and I am passionate about speaking about things that edify the mind, the body, and the spirit from a Christian perspective. If this is your first time on this channel, I'd like to encourage you to subscribe or hit the bell notification so that next time we release a new video, you will be the first one to know. Today, we're going to be speaking about why people struggle with diets. Why people struggle with diets. Ready? Let's go. Hello. What is up, guys? JT Tapias, professional fitness life coach with the Empty Your Bucket Nutrition Program. And today we're going to be speaking about an interesting subject, why most people struggle with diets. Why most people struggle with diets. First and foremost, I truly believe when people hear the word diet, all they can think about is the first three letters of the word diet. They feel like they're going to die. And most people will say, well, I'm not on a diet and I don't do diets. And well, that would mean that you're not eating anything. Everyone is on a diet, right? But the connotation to the word diet means restricting yourself, being hungry, going through a lot of pain, going through a lot of things that you don't want to necessarily do, right? No one wants to deprive themselves. No one wants to feel like they're putting themselves through pain. No one wants that. And so when they hear the word diet, that's the first thing that comes to mind. It's like, oh my God, I'm going to be in pain, or I'm going to die, or this is not sustainable, or this is not worth it. And ultimately, the people that fail versus the people that thrive are people that have a strong why, right? The why comes before the what. And so, a lot of times I see the people thriving in our programs are the people that are sick and tired of being sick and tired. They've had a bad doctor's report. They looked at themselves in the mirror and they just got completely fed up with what they saw in the mirror. Or maybe someone took a picture of them at a party, and for the very first time, they saw themselves with, not looking the way they wanted to look. And they finally made a decision based out of pain. Those are the people that I generally see that do really, really, really well. Now, the word diet, the only thing that the word diet means is truly an awareness around what you're eating, being conscious of what you're actually putting in your mouth in terms of nutrition, right? It's just making a conscious decision to choose the better things. And notice I said better, not bad or good. The better things. And what I mean by better is things that are aligned with the goals that you have. So you're eating based on your goals. I know many people that have a round shape and they feel content. They feel fine. They have tons of energy. They sleep well. They go to their doctor and their blood work looks good and they feel content. They don't feel like doing anything else. And who am I, right, to say that's right or wrong? But when someone comes and says, hey, I'm not happy with the way I look, I'm not happy with the way I feel. Hey, I'm sick. I am a type 2 diabetic. I'm hypertensive. I have high blood pressure. I'm on all these medications based on my weight. I'm out of breath. I'm constantly getting sick. I'm constantly getting colds. Then that calls for obviously action, right? We want to take action. And let's be honest here. No one likes the word no. I have two little ones. I have a 2-year-old and I have a 5-year-old. And they're already wired to not like the word no, right? When I somehow tell them no this or no that, my 2-year-old crosses her arms and she tightens her face up. And, they're already come wired. We come wired to not like the word no. And so when you go on a restrictive diet and all you hear is no, and you can't do this and you can't do that. And even worse, you can never do that. That is bad food. And this is the good food. That creates a really, really challenging, let's say, proposition for most people, because most people, they're not going to be able to sustain that. And that's a big challenge with most diets. Most people that come on our program from Keto, Atkins, South Beach, macro counting, calorie counting, point counting, all these different programs out there, is that they've been told no, too restrictive, too complex, too much thinking, right? Whatever is not easy and attractive to the brain will not do consistently, right? That is for everything, right? Think of the things that you enjoy doing the most. Those are the things you do the most, right? If it's attractive, if you like it, if the experience is good, you're going to do more of that. And the opposite is true of that. And so in most diets, you meet both extremes, right? You meet the super strict diet that says none of this, none of that, and has tons of complexity to it. Weigh your food, count your macros, count your food, plan your food. You need a nap. You need to, all those complexities. And then you have the very loose end of diets. And those are the ones that say you can eat whatever you want as long as you meet your macros, or as long as you can eat this pizza and these burgers, as long as you're controlling your portions, and it doesn't really matter. And here's the problem with the too strict, right? And the too loose. The too strict, once again, your brain's not going to do something for a very long time if it's constantly it's feeling like it's in pain. If your diet is too loose, what's going to happen, and what I see often happen with these diets that are very loose in the sense of like, you can eat whatever you want. If you want burgers, you can eat burgers. If you want pizza, you can eat pizza. You just got to eat these ingredients. You got to do this thing, or you got to buy these prepackaged meals or these prepackaged shakes. Is that with those programs, you never get rid of certain food addictions and you keep craving the same thing. Let me give you an example. If you are an alcoholic, right, and you go to a rehab center, and in the rehab center, they say to you, you can't drink hard alcohol anymore, but it's okay to drink beer. My question to you is, do you think you're ever going to get rid of your alcohol problem? I think the answer to that is no. And the same thing with these programs that are very loose, and then also the ones that are too strict. They're just not sustainable. You're never going to get rid of your addictions. And let's face it, that's what it is. It is a food addiction. The fact that you need to reach for food every time you have a high or low emotion means it's an addiction. The fact that you can't stay away from certain foods, that's an addiction. The fact that those thoughts are constantly overpowering your mind, that's an addiction, right? An addiction simply means something that has you so trapped that it goes completely against your will and you go and do it anyway because there's a chemical reaction to that decision that you're making, right? And so this is what's happening with most situations. And then this is why diets are so not sustainable, right? Most of the diets are not sustainable because most people come on to diets with the idea, right? With the level 1 of behavior change. Level 1 behavior change simply says that you get on a diet because you want to fit into a dress, because you want to look good for a certain occasion, right? You want to meet a certain metric, right? You have that motivation to get to that metric. And a lot of you guys get on these programs and you hit that metric and you do well. The problem is that if I checked in with you 3, 4, 5 weeks later, you would probably be back to where you were from before you came on the program. And on top of that, you would add an extra 5 to 15 pounds is what statistics say. Okay. So then you say, well, what's level 2? Well, great. Level 2 is basically similar. You're trying to reach a metric. You're trying to fit into something. You're trying to go to an event, but you're instilling these habits and you're literally creating systems in order to get there, right? And these systems will hold you a little longer than level 1, right? These systems, after you meet your metric, you'll keep these habits and these things for a little while. But the problem is, right, things haven't clicked here yet, right? You're just doing them, you're automating them through systems, but if you're not fully clicked here, if you're not fully convinced in your mind, because it all starts in your mind, then you usually tend to revert back to your old habits, right? So then the question is, well, what's level 3? Glad you asked. Level 3 is identity change, right? And identity simply is who you are, right? There are things that you already do where you don't have to exert energy to do them, right? That's just who you are, right? If you are a reader, you just pick up books, right? You don't have to exert energy. You don't have to leave the book open to remind you to read it. You don't have to have an alarm going off to tell you it's time to read. You just go read because that's part of your identity. If you like to grill, you just naturally, as soon as you get home, you turn on the grill and your meat's already out, and that's what you do. That's who you are, identity, right? And so when we reach that third level of identity change, and all of a sudden Christmas or Thanksgiving comes around, and Christmas comes around, and a birthday comes around, and a special occasion comes around, and someone puts cake in front of you, right? You just don't eat it because that's not who you are. You enjoy eating healthy food. If you've ever met a healthy eater, a person that enjoys eating healthy, you can't tempt those people. Right? They'll go to parties and you're like, oh my God, what a party pooper, blah, 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 blah. Now, I don't advocate like that asceticism and that strictness to these plans, because I think that life is all about balance, right? But I admire these people that say, hey, I never have a cheat meal because I just don't miss it. I just enjoy my food. That's just who I am. Good for you, right? That person, you got to ask the question, how is that person successful? How did that person reach that point where they're able to overpass and bypass all of the temptation? Well, they got to that third level of change, which is identity change. I used to be a big nightlife guy, okay? Probably from the age of 21 to 32, my weekends were at the nightclub, right? That's what I would do. If no questions asked, Friday and Saturday night, that's where you would find me. You would find me out and about, okay? At 32, that radically changed, and you can't pay me to be up past 10 o'clock at night. You cannot pay me, right? There's not enough money in this world that will make me go to a nightclub. That is simply an identity change. That wasn't me. That's not me forcing myself. When 9 o'clock comes around, 8:30 comes around, I'm in bed and I enjoy that. It's part of my identity. No one has to, keep me accountable. No one has to call me. I don't have to have alarm set. It's just part of my identity. My friend, I'll leave you with this, right? I've pleaded the whole time here about why diets are not sustainable. I just took you through the whole entire process and breakdown and grid that we take our clients through inside of the Empty Your Bucket nutrition plan. And we bring in awareness because we believe that when a light walks into darkness, it's no longer dark, right? And so when we bring clarity to a challenge that has just been consuming most people, usually it's a lack of knowledge, right? There's a proverb that says, our people perish for lack of knowledge. Most of the time, we struggle with things because we don't understand, right? The complexities, the structures of it. But when those structures come to the surface and we see them more clear, we have the ability to make different and better decisions, right? And so I hope that's what this did for you today. Today, we spoke about why most people struggle with diets, and I gave you the solution, right? I gave you the breakdown and how our minds are structured to dislike no, to not like the restrictions, to the loose plans don't work either because they keep you addicted. And then we talked about the 3 levels of identity, and I spoke with you about how to change that and how to see things differently. And it all comes from an identity change. The Apostle Paul said it very clearly, not about nutrition, but just in general. And he said, do not be conformed to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, right? Everything starts here. If it doesn't click here, it's not sustainable. So it needs to click in your mind. You need to have a strong why, and you need to actually enter a program that has all these components in place where you're not just dealing with the dynamics, you're actually dealing also with the cognitive part of the program, meaning the psychology behind it. And that's what we do inside of the Empty Your Bucket plan. If you've enjoyed what I've said today, if you feel like this has brought some kind of value to you and for you, would you do me a huge favor? Would you hit a like